Hi there, we're going to talk just briefly today about dividing up an audio file into separate segments or different independent files to bring into Captivate. We really don't want to bring a super long voiceover track for all the slides into Captivate. There's really no easy way to divide it up and put the individual audio file that goes with an individual slide in Captivate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use a program called Audacity, and it is going to be the program I'm going to use to divide this up. The reason I'm picking Audacity, first of all, it's free. It's free on both Mac or Windows. This would be probably the program I would use unless I had access to the Creative Cloud and I could download Adobe Audition. Excellent program. And if you got the Creative Cloud, that would be the program I would use. In an upcoming podcast, I'll talk about doing the same thing I'm going to do in Audacity and Audition. But let's do it in Audacity here right away. So I'm going to switch over to Audacity, which I have already running, and I'm going to import the audio file. And I'm going to come over here to Audio. And I'm going to import an MP3 file of a presidential speech from 1961 about the space race to the moon by President Kennedy. I'm going to pull the window down here a little bit. I'm just using the default tools. And there's a toolbar up here in the upper left. I'm going to pick on the zoom tool, and I'm going to click on this a couple times so I can zoom in and see a little closer view when there's a dividing area between parts of his speech. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play.
Finally, if we are to win the battle that is now going on around the world between freedom and tyranny.
And so we played that segment there. Now I'd like to select that region, it's called in Audacity, give it a name, and then export it out as a separate audio file to be put on a specific slide in Captivate. So up in my toolbox here, I have a little selection tool here. Looks like an I-beam, just like you would do for word processing. And I'm going to press and drag across this region here. And I'm going to play it back just to double check.
Finally, if we are to win the battle that is now going on around the world between freedom and tyranny.
Okay, that's the segment I want. So what I can do is I can go under Tracks, and I can add a label to this selection. The nice thing about that in Audacity, it automatically gives me these markers, marks that region, and I'm going to go ahead and type in the label name. Let's call this Introduction. Okay. I'm going to click my I-beam again here, and I'm going to, let's see, I'll click and play from this point on. In fact, I'll click a little bit further in, and I'll go ahead and play.
The dramatic achievements in space which occurred in recent weeks should have made clear to us all, as did the Sputnik in 1957, the impact of this adventure on the minds of men everywhere who are attempting to make a determination of which road they should take.
Okay, so I've got that situated there, and now I'm going to press, and I'm going to put my I-beam right on that vertical bar, and I'm going to press and pull back. And now I'm going to pull it back, and notice that Audacity gives me this bright yellow line as soon as I hit where the marker was for the end of the prior segment, which is excellent, because now I can let up. I'm going to go Command or Control B, and I'm going to mark that as a region, and I'm going to go Objectives. And again, the naming of this should match your script. Don't give it just slide numbers. Give it slide number plus a descriptive name in case you add or take away slides in your Captivate project. And that way you'll still know what part or what slide this audio goes to. So I'm going to click here again, and I'll just get my I-beam, and I'm going to play another little segment.
Since early in my term, our efforts in space have been under review.
Okay, So I'm going to take this little part again. I'm going to put my I-beam right over that vertical green line. I'm going to come back. I'm going to hit that vertical yellow line. I'm going to go under tracks, or I could go Command or Control B, and it will mark that region, and I'll say this is my summary. Beautiful. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to take these three regions and export them out. So I'm going to go under File, and I'm going to pick Export. Okay, before I export this, I'm going to go up under File, and I'm actually going to save this project. So I'm going to go Command or Control S and save this project out. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a name of My Project 1. And unfortunately I went up underneath there to quit, so let me reopen that. My Project 1, here we go. And so now we have these saved, and before I go up here now, I can go ahead and make sure I'm under File. I'm going to come down here to Export Multiple. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick Wave. This is the only strange thing about Audacity. If you're going to export it out as MP3 format, you have to go back to the Audacity's desktop or website where you download Audacity, download an open source file called LAME, install it on your computer so you can export out MP3 files. This is because of a licensing issue with the compression scheme that's used to make these MP3s. It's proprietary, so you have to download this little file and install it prior to coming into Audacity. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick WAV files, because I know Captivate will use those. I'm going to come over in the lower right corner. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to give a file name prefix to all these files called My Project 1. And so now I'm going to choose the folder this is going to go to. I've already made a folder called Captivate Audio. I'll pick Choose. I'll pick Export. It gives me the ability to type in some metadata if I want to. I can just go ahead and skip past that, and it shows me where these have been saved. I'll click OK. I'll quit out of Audacity. I'll quit out of my browser here. I'm back here in Captivate. I'm just going to pick the slide like you know how to do. I'm going to go Audio, Import to, Slide. I'm going to pick my Captivate Audio folder. Here's my first file. I'll click Open. Because this is just the default length of slide, like 3 seconds, my audio is longer, so we know in Captivate we'll just have it show the slide for the same amount of time as the audio file. This is the best way to get this audio in here. I wouldn't recommend using Distribute to the Audio or Retain Current Slide. Use this one right here. It puts this audio file with this slide only. And I'll put that right in here. I'll just go over here. We'll do the same thing. I'll right click Audio, Import, number 2. It's going to give me the same warning. I'll hit Enter or OK. And I'll go Audio, Import, and number 3. Okay. If I double click on any of these audio files, you can see in the editor within Captivate, we could edit this if we needed to. Maybe we want to pull some dead air out before or after. Maybe we got a little bit extra. You could click play.
It's early in my term.
And you could edit this just like you know from class. Okay. So now I'm just going to click back up on slide 1. I'm going to come over to my preview button. I'm going to preview the project.
Finally, if we are to win the battle that is now going on around the world between freedom and tyranny, the dramatic achievements in space which occurred in recent weeks should have made clear to us all, as did the Sputnik in 1957, the impact of this adventure on the minds of men everywhere who are attempting to make a determination of which road they should take. Since early in my term, our efforts in space have been under review.
Okay, so we can go ahead and we hear it plays fantastic. We know we can move the scrub bar back, so on and so forth. So I'm done previewing this. You know that from class. So the bottom line is download Audacity. Download this lame file that comes with it so you can export MP3s, or you can export out just the WAV files if you want to have a little bit bigger file. Then what you do is you bring in the audio file, you drag across the area that you want to mark as a region, go Command or Control B, mark your regions, go File, Export, make sure you save in there someplace, export those out, and there's separate WAV files or MP3 files you can bring directly into Captivate. Well, I hope this helps. Just a little crash course on Audacity.